What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Warren. I am a banker in London and a property investor across the UK. My goal is to live free and independently from property. So I'm looking for an income of £10,000 per month from property. If that's what you're onto, if you want to live free and independently, like and subscribe. That is what my content is all about. So as you know guys, I have been doing a BRRR property refurbishment over the past months. It is now finished. I've refinanced. I've made my profit. But we're not done guys, because what I like to do at the end of each refurbishment project and going forward is to look back and see what I could have done better. Why do I want to do that guys? Because when I do things better, my next one and the one after that, I'm constantly improving and I'm going to be earning more money. If I can do things better for lower costs, in a more efficient and profitable way, that's going to increase my return. So today I'm going to go through my lessons learned together with you. I was writing them down over the weekend and I thought, let me share these in a video because they're going to help somebody somewhere who's doing a refurbishment project also. So let's get straight into this. Number one guys is that next time round I am going to do a survey on a property, not just a valuation. Long story short, on this property, after I'd done the refurb and the letting agent had put it on the market, they came back to me just after Christmas and said, hey Warren, we have found an issue with the walls in the living room. And I was like, cool, send me pictures. Guys, they sent me pictures and there was a whole load of damp coming through the walls from the top to the bottom of the living room walls. I was, if you see damp for the first time, it's pretty alarming. So I was like, well, what's causing that? So they got a tradesman to go out and it turned out that the guttering on the side of the house had been completely clogged and it was overflowing, and then it was causing water to seep through the brick and into the living room. So I had to get that fixed guys. Now I could have avoided that right at the beginning stage. I had to obviously pay to get that fixed, but I could have avoided that by getting a survey done. Now the problem is when you buy at auction, because the property that I bought, this BRRR property, was an auction property, and when it comes to viewing the properties, they were very strict with their time slots. You basically only had a half an hour gap during specified dates and times to view the property. A full survey is around between 2 and 4 hours. So we just wasn't given the time by the auction house to be able to do that. So buying a property at auction is a risk in that sense, because you're really trusting what you see. You can do your research, and when you get that half an hour viewing, you want to go around the house as forensically as you possibly can, but there's going to be some stuff you're going to miss, right? And in this case, it was the guttering. Now, thankfully, it wasn't too crazy or too expensive to fix it. But next time, if I do buy at auction again, I'll get a survey done afterwards, just so that I know or have a full scope of what needs to be fixed. And also, we're being completely honest here, what I should have done is when I viewed the property, I should have gone around the outside on the back of the house where the living room was, and actually looked at the property more from the back, the rear. I focused on the front and obviously the inside, but that's definitely a learning point for me. Next up guys is to buy a cheaper property next time. Now I've said this in other videos, but this property in Manchester was slightly outside of my desired price point. I bought it for 127k. I really aimed to go up to a maximum of 100k. Why did I spend extra on this property? Because it's in an area of the UK which historically has been amazing in terms of growth in prices. So I knew that I was going to have to pay a bit extra for a property in this area of the UK. Now I don't regret it at all. I'm very, very happy with my purchase and the profits that I made from it. But going forwards, I'm going to target cheaper properties in cheaper parts of the UK. I'm still going to focus up north, northwest, northeast, wherever the opportunity presents itself. But overall, I'm going to go back to my formula. I'm going to be a bit more rigid and focus in cheaper parts of the UK. Because as you know, the more expensive the property, the more your costs are. We're talking specifically around that deposit. 25% of 127,000 is materially more than 25% of 100,000. Also the stamp duty added to that. So I will get the cost down for my next BRRR refurbishment project. Now linked to that guys is that for my next property, I ideally want to source it outside of auction. This property has stacked up, even though I paid close to £9,000 in auction fees altogether. We're talking about the buyer's premium and paying for the seller's legal fees. It still stacked up and the profit was still really good. However, I could have made an extra 9,000 if I hadn't have had to have paid those auction fees. So ideally guys, I'm going to aim for a property that is not at auction. And I think it was really the fact that it was an online auction that pushed the prices up. I mean, they really do squeeze as much out of you as possible. So I'm gonna look to source my next refurbishment property project from the open market, or maybe even direct to vendor, if that's possible as well. So I'm gonna look at some options and avenues around that to get the costs down even further and increase my profit in the process. Now, this wasn't necessarily an issue, but it's something that I'm definitely gonna be a bit more strict around next time on my next refurbishment project. And that is, first of all, on a weekly basis, I'm gonna ask for the builders to send me videos instead of pictures. On this project, I would send pictures, and that was fine. However, I feel like you can get a lot more of a complete picture and a clearer overview of the work that's been done with a video as opposed to pictures. So this being my first one, I went along with pictures, but on my next one, I'm gonna be more insistent about videos specifically and not pictures. And then linked to that, guys, is that next time on my next project, I am going to withhold the final 10% of the fee, the refurbishment fee, until after I've done snagging. On this occasion, I did have stage payments according to how much was done, but I paid my last payment before I went and snagged. So I was in a position where I went to the property and there was, you know, a list of stuff that still needed to be done. You can check out my other videos to see that, but I'd already paid. And the builder, if he wasn't a particularly scrupulous or honest person, he could have said, we're not coming back, or he could have just ignored me. But luckily I was working with a guy that was, you know, really honest. Good integrity about him. He said, no problem, we'll come in and fix it, and he did it a week later. However, I know that that doesn't happen all the time, right? Because, you know, a lot of the time builders will have several projects going on at the same time, or they'll have one starting soon after, and they don't really have the time or the appetite, to be honest with you, to come back and fix stuff on a project that they've already been paid for, and in their head they've already finished. So on my next refurbishment project, I'm definitely going to withhold the last 10% payment until after I've done snagging. And if they don't do it, they won't get paid that last portion of money. And then lastly, guys, the thing that I've learned that has been really helpful is around the kind of aesthetic touches to the house. So really, I focused, when I was doing this refurbishment, it was my first one, I focused on, you know, the fundamentals, like we need to get the floors done, the walls done, new units in the kitchen and bathroom. But I wasn't really thinking about aesthetic touches, stuff like blinds and lights and finishes on door handles. I'm not saying I'm gonna go crazy and turn it into a show home, but when it comes to renting, once the project was finished, I put it into the hands of the letting agent, and they were very much like, hey, look, we need to do a few more touches around the house to make it, you know, marketable. So we need new blinds, we need working lights in all the rooms, you need the smoke detector. We want to take out these wall plugs in these walls and, like, you know, plaster over them. So stuff like that, rather than having to do it further down the line and delay the whole process to get the property onto market for renting. I'm going to get the builders to do it all up front, so that really it's just ready to plug and play straight into the letting agent's hands. No work to do, no cleaning to do. It's just like, right, we can just put this straight on the market. So that's really something that I've learned from this particular project that's been, you know, pretty beneficial to me for next time. So guys, those are the main things that I learned from this refurbishment project that I'm going to take into the next one. I always want to improve, guys. You know, I love doing this. And I just feel like in life, there's no point in doing something if you're not going to learn from it and improve it the next time. I want to get to a point where, you know, it's down to a fine science, churning out projects and getting them done to a really good standard, guys. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Is there anything that you've learned from any refurbishment projects, or is there anything that you've read and want to share with others? Like and subscribe for the algorithm, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.